We got André. We are very happy to have you here. We just got through an amazing chat about wine, the non-pretentiousness of it, the importance of it in our culture. We went through and down some rabbit holes.
No, we did. That was my fault. I kind of get off subject.
That's the fun of it.
I mean, it kind of fucked me in school, but yeah, in real life, I think I'm good.
It's not just about being an influencer. Some might say disruptor, but it's basically about saying that this wine world's for everybody, and it was great to speak to somebody that's really smashed open those doors and made an impact. And I mean, just like bringing together wine and hip-hop culture, and I mean, and bringing in humor, and that's a way to bring people together, and that's what you showed us today in the origin story is just awesome.
It's your life. Yeah, like you bring all your interests together.
Well, and yeah, your story is a great one. Going from finance into being a somm, working in restaurants from your teenage years all the way through, and still to this day.
Yeah.
To actually being a winemaker. So it was a pleasure having you. Thank you very much. If you guys want to learn more, I mean, I'm not kidding. This is one of the most entertaining podcast we've done.
For real.
Well, I still gotta watch the other one with the rabbit, but still.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Highlight for me was like just being here. Like, you guys are like you're real serious wine people, and then you have this serious podcast that is not like any other wine podcast where we all want to sit around and have a circle jerk about malolactic fermentation. Right? You know what I mean? I could do that. I'm gonna come first. I'm sorry.
You're gonna come first.
Then I'm gonna leave. But we could have this candid conversation. And it's fun, and it was like I have to say, like it felt like I'm just like hanging out with some friends of mine, and maybe that's why I wasn't on script. But like you guys made it feel comfortable, and like I think you're right. Like it felt good to be here, and my instinct said that I should come here. I didn't want to do it on Zoom or some shit like that, and I was like, no, I can come see these guys.
It makes it a lot of fun.
And it felt good to be in your space, and you guys have been nothing but generous to me. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And last note, learning the story and hearing how you can get into the wine business if you just have a bit of a passion for it, you're gonna love the story of how André got into making his own wine. So check out Go With Your Palate, enjoy, and stay tuned. So Trademarks, I think that, hopefully our industry
they exist for a reason, right? Yeah, you get it, right?
But you got to have a little fun.
Correct.
Dude,
Yeah.
Menage a trois? Menage a trois?
I mean, you can't trade. Well, yeah, I guess you can in wine. You can trademark menage a trois.
Which is funny because it's just so weird. But and then what you start to realize is then that's when everybody makes up their own word.
Yeah.
Right. So like you think like Stoli, they do vanille, they do whatever they do with an I or whatever, so they can trademark it because you can't trademark a flavor. So we made a wine called XL, and so it only comes in magnums. And basically it was like I freaked out and I turned 40. So Roman numeral XL is 40. Right, and then basically it's a barrel selection of OPP that stays in oak, 2 months later or something.
Okay.
Like that, right, and so we made these things, and somebody asked me, they're like, "Hey, did you trademark that?" And I was like, and I wasn't real sure. I said, let me check with my guys. And before I could check, he goes, "No, you're not allowed to trademark it because it's like trademarking a color, so you can't." And that person was very nice, and he still paid me a lot of money to use it.
Oh.
To use it, he says, just call it a finder's fee.
Yeah.
That's my boy. You know who you are. And like, it was dope.
You got out of, you left the French Laundry, got out of the somm world.
Yep.
You're never going to be able to. That's just a screaming seagull, all right?
What the hell are you guys wanting?
It's a fucking wine bottle.
Wait, hold on. Just play it.
You're going to play, we're going to sit here and watch it. That is a fat seagull, by the way.
It's going to start screaming too, right here. You saw it right here, watch.
Thank you, Art.
Thank you, Art.
Dude, look up "screaming seagull wine label" or something. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Okay. So
I mean that gives it the vibe. That's the story it was telling.
So I think we should jump straight into some of your branding before we get into like how you got into the wine business from or making wine.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I do while we're on the subject, like the OPP thing was just brought up.
Yeah.
So if people that are listening don't know this song, Naughty by Nature was a huge group in the late 90s, and their most likely biggest hit was OPP, and it was kind of an acronym. Still, we're very like sensitive as a culture of music listeners to coming right out and saying like what it means. So they had this kind of innuendo,
correct,
right? So OPP was other people's property.
Correct, and you could switch out the P's.
Yeah,
depending on the anatomy or the gender there.
Yeah, and they make it very clear in the lyrics of the song. Yeah. So how did you get inspired, and what is your version of OPP?
Well, it's interesting. So as we're talking legality, to me it was like I looked at like other people's money, OPM, right? OPP was one of those things. So it's like, okay. What I realized is that you really can't trademark an acronym. And so, in the wine business, the back label is the front label.
Yep.
So the wine is actually called Other People's Pinot, right? And so we just put OPP on the front. And so I think that in the legality part, that kind of maybe puts us there. So it was like, so my whole thing is like, so from that, I had bought 8 barrels of finished wine from a winery that we were making wine in. And I used that to blend in with wine that I was making from Seven Springs.
Okay.
Right, to bring my costs down, right? So I could, so I didn't have to pick up bartending shifts to pay the mortgage, right?
Got it.
So you're kind of like, okay, this is kind of what I do. But like, since I didn't make those wines, we just put OPP on the barrels, and then we moved into the new facility. So definitely a play, and it's funny wherever, and so to me, when you look at a label, like to put like Chateau Mack or André Mack Cellars. It carries an air of pretentiousness in a way. You're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you're supposed to know this person versus like, if I put OPP on it, people are like, what did that just say? Or, and then they try to act weird. It's like, is that a D? Is that DPP? I was like, well, that means something else. Right? That means definitely something else. Right? So, because it's in block lettering, right? So the idea is that I couldn't afford a designer. Like, I think the running thing was like $25,000 per person, and I'm like, fuck.
It's ridiculous to get a wine label designed. If you do it outside, we do all of our shit in-house, too.
Yep. And you're better off, like paying somebody 60 or 70 or whatever, like to design it, to have an in-house designer, right?
Yeah. But then you're also, if you don't go their direction, then you're somehow offending them. Like, you feel guilty, and so you're not able to be your own creative self.
Yeah. No, of course not.
In that process.
So, and I learned that the hard way. So my thing was like, okay, So
it's a killer fucking package. By the way.
I didn't know shit about the winery side, like all that. So there you had a bottling line, but so you're supposed to have the cola before you sign up for the bottling line. I didn't. I was like, well, shit. The bottling line's here. I want to get ahead of everybody else, so I signed up for the bottling line. So then I did this. Somebody calls me and they're like, so you don't have a cola. I was like, oh. He goes, so why are you signing up for the bottle? I'm like, fuck. Okay. So now I kept the thing, and I was like, and the idea was like, I got this computer. I bought like if you're creative, you use Mac. Yeah. So this is like 07. Like this when Steve Jobs was there, and they had the black silhouettes with the white head. You know what I mean? Like, that's when they were like in their groove. And so I bought this used iMac off of Craigslist for $200. And I was like, okay, now I'm creative, right? You know what I mean? And then I got the bootleg version of the software. And that's it. And I would stare at the screen from like 10:30 to...
Of like Adobe Illustrator?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it, blah, blah, blah. And finally I was behind the gun. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to call it OPP. And I designed the whole label. And it's supposed to look like my kid did it. Right? And the idea was like, okay, maybe I can get all of the ideas creatively that I have in my head out on paper, visualized, pass it on to a graphic designer, and then they can finish it up or clean it up. And what you realize is they fucking hate that. Right? They're like, no, they're going to scrap your thing. And like you say, sometimes you're paying them, but you want to have some of your creativity in it, but like you hired them, and so I get their point of it. So I was like, okay, so this is supposed to be a Band-Aid, and I just said fuck it,
and it worked,
and that was it, and we just kept it, and so it just depends. Like if you're from Toronto or from Ontario, OPP means Ontario Provincial Police. All the police cars.
Oh, I didn't know that.
All the police cars have OPP on it, right? If you're from New Orleans, you might see a whole bunch of orange jumpsuits that have OPP on it back. Orleans Parish Prison, right? And if you're around in the 90s, you might have heard a song. So it draws, there's nostalgia in that fact. I think when people see it, they say what it is, but they flip it on the back. It's called Other People's Pinot. And it evolved into that thing of like most of the value wines produced in Oregon were generally consumed in Oregon. Right, it wasn't until like A to Z came along that was value Willamette Valley Pinot Noir under it was 1999. You couldn't find Willamette Valley Pinot Noir under that. And then I wanted to, so that was the model that I looked at and said we could do that. Actually, I think I ran some ads where it was like you can get with this or you can get with that. And so when it was like it's like if you can get with this or you can get with that, and that was them, and so it was A to Z with an X on it and shit.
Oh,
so I was like, okay, let me calm down.
Yeah,
let me calm down.
But hey, that's fun though.
Did you get papers for that?
Not again that one.
A little spiciness. You can do that legally.
Yeah, and so that part
good.
was like, so that's kind of how I looked at it, and so it was like, I think where you have to understand this all came from a joke, right? So I'm at the restaurant, there's not a lot of people that look like me that are in this business. I'm some like to everybody in New York, I'm a foreigner. How come somebody from New York didn't have this job? Right? Like that's kind of how they were looked at it.
Because you're from Texas?
Yeah. Well, it was Texas, but I went from French Laundry. Then I came to New York.
Yeah.
So I had experience, but most New Yorkers thought they should have had the job. And I think a New Yorker did, but then he got promoted to general manager. So, and not a lot of people looked like me. And so I think one day we were talking about Robert Bialy. He was talking about the black chicken. Zinfandel, and I'm telling the story about how it was a code word or whatever. Staff thought it was amusing kind of thing. Now all of a sudden it's like you should have a nickname. We're gonna call you Black Chicken. I said, the fuck you're not. You're not calling me Black Chicken. So it's like, okay. And so we all started to come up with nicknames. And somebody said, oh, we'll call you Black Sheep. And I was like, no, my name is André. I don't speak French. Right? Like everybody in my family's name is Henry.
Okay.
Right? So Henri. My mom had me when she was 16. She was taking French in high school. Right? When they came around to write the name down, she said Andre. She said Henri, and they wrote down Andre.
Oh.
Right? So that's why my name is Andre. Right? So my name is Andre. And so I was like, so Black Sheep in French is Mouton Noir. And I was like, I'll take it. So everybody called me Mouton. And then I designed the logo. That's the sheep logo that's on the back was my screensaver at work.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So that was like always a running joke. I'd be in the, you see it here. So you used to say Mouton Noir in there, and then I had the legal battle. And then we changed it to MMW, which stands for Maison Noir Wines. And that's kind of how it started. So it was a running joke. I'd be like the T-shirts that I made, like the names, all of those, like Bone Thugs, and we spelled bone like bone thug, and like use and put it into the Bone Thugs logo. And so I would just talk about it. I hadn't created any of that while I was there. It was everything. I was telling him, I was like, I made this wine. I was like, I'm gonna make a wine called Show Nuff. And it's SHO-Nuff, like spelled like Chateau Neuf, and it had a black Afro pick with the fist in it, and then we removed the fist and put like the bishop, the bishop hat, right, the Pope hat, right, and that
Did you actually make that?
Yeah, so we didn't make it. I think I was telling him, I think I have some picks around.
Okay.
Right, that we actually physically make the pick, but I never made the wine.
Yeah.
And I never did anything. I just had the
You had the shirt.
Yeah, the shirt, and then we had the logo design. So but I would do this, and we'd be back there laughing. And we were decanting like $60,000 bottles of wine and just having fun, like just talking about this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. This is what I'm gonna call it. And we just laughed the whole time. And then finally, when I quit, I was like, well, shit, I'm like, I want to go make wine. That's kind of what I'm gonna do, and I don't know. And so it's like kind of like this thing. And I was like, well, I already have the name, and I started to do the same thing that I tell everybody. So I built a website. We couldn't sell wine on it because we weren't compliant. Then I started to make T-shirts. Right, and so then that was drive the traffic, and then we put our logo on the back of the T-shirts. So eventually, people had to go. Eventually, when we started to sell wine, they could see that we made wine there too. And so that's kind of how it all started, and like it just flowed. And then when I got to it, it was just like, okay, like I grew up in a military family. We went shopping every month, once a month. You went down every fucking aisle. It took like 2.5 hours. I hated it. And you would go down one aisle, and like every aisle you went down, for the most part, when you first get there, it's like. It's like a mosaic of colors, like all the different brands, packaging, and then you would turn down one aisle and it'd be stark white and almost blinding, and that was called the generic aisle. So before grocery stores decided to have their own marketing stuff, they bought from a company they called it generic.
Yep.
So it was like white packaging, you know it, right?
I know.
White packaging with like black font on it, and it was like a 6-pack of beer, and it would just say beer on it, or it say pinto beans, baking beans, like potato chips. And I looked at that, and I just remember how it used to stand out on the back bar, and I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. And obviously, you're looking at like, Mouton Noir. You're talking about a black sheep. Like I think, like for me, everybody's felt like an outcast before. It's something that we've all felt that we didn't belong. We were a misfit. And my thing was, I used to say, embrace what makes you different, and let that help you propel you to success. Like let that help you move in the world. Like that whole saying they say, it's like they all laugh at me because I'm different, and I laugh at them because they're the same. And that's how I started, and I think people could resonate with like being a black sheep. And when you have a company called the Black Sheep, you have creative license to do the shit that I was doing. Yeah, that just felt natural in a way to be able to do it. And so that's how it all started. It was just like these were just ideas and things that I said I would do. and didn't know how to do it, and then taught myself graphic design. Then we started making T-shirts.
Yeah.
And and originally I thought like
being edgy. You were doing something that was totally against the grain. Like, I mean, just as a reference point. So OPP, other people's Pinot. It's a great way. So you were saying like to pay the bills, you just wanted to have this like easy going, not too expensive wine and something accessible, right? So it's very common for people in the industry to do that, right? You go out, buy some wine, and I love that you just came straight out and said like, yeah, I didn't make this, but I blended it. That's kind of like a very common thing, especially in Europe to do.
Yep.
And
I got Negotiate, but it was pushback on the Negotiate. So like everybody, like
you tried to get Negotiate.
Yeah, well, no, but the whole idea was like, no, it's like that was me being a negotiant, right? Like, right, like which in America, like what I realized is that people were always there to try to pick it apart on why that I wondering like how I was able to do it. How are you doing it? You must not really own this thing, right, or something like that. And then I look in their cart. We're at like I'm at a tasting in a wine store, and I look in their cart, and I was like, hey, well I know them. They don't own this vineyard.
Yeah.
They buy fruit from over here. They do this stuff, right? It's like
everybody. Owned it.
Yeah, people wanted to, and they owned it too. It's just that. The person wanted to look at me and try to break it down on like everybody wanted to know how are you doing this? Like it was like some sleight of hand or secret or some other way. And it's like, I can tell you all the secrets. You still couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you got to just go do it.
You got to go do it. And like, and it really that saying of like showing up is 80%.
Yeah.
I just showed up on the road.
Yeah.
Like just, and
I try to tell my kids.
Yeah.
I just say 90% of life is showing up. You show up and like
stuff happens.
You'll find something to do.
Correct. Or you'll be inspired. Like you don't want to go somewhere and you go there, you meet someone, you're here saying something happened, and all of a sudden for me, I just run with it and you're like, oh wow, this is Yeah, I learned something by going there that night that I didn't really want to go to. Or you just show up and
isn't it funny how like free comedy tickets from one of your friends that can't make it changed your life? Yeah. It's just wild. I'm glad you showed up.
Yeah.
still together.
Hey, can you pull up? Because we have a Chardonnay that we do just for Quilt & Co.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit of our own little innuendo that we're having a little fun with. And so like we wanted to make like my preference in drinking whites is like this, our Fumé Blanc, right? Like more minerality, very dry and whatnot. But like we also want to have a wine in our portfolio. I'm sure you do something similar as well, where you want to have something that accommodates all the palates. So like the super cougar juice, right?
Yeah.
So we were like, we're gonna make the biggest, like baddest, like Chardonnay we could, and so we created this. We only did a little bit. I think we're just gonna keep it for a couple more years at the tasting room only, and then maybe bring it out to another like market, maybe a market that has a sense of humor.
Okay. I want to see it.
That's always important.
So that's always important. And so we were calling it just our Big Beautiful Chardonnay, and so
yeah, you gotta work on that. See, you ready? And now if that was on the other side of me at the wine riot, yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So I was like, fuck it, let's put BBC on the front label.
Oh, that's so good.
And like, I mean, and we
is it still going or no?
Yeah, we write Big Beautiful Chardonnay on the bottom there, like, so it's right out there because people think like British Broadcasting Company,
correct?
But like I think
Blick Back Clock.
Like, my generation,
what's the next one?
Yeah.
Queen of Spades, right?
But it gets the point across, and like it's amazing just seeing how because you walk into a tasting room, you have no idea about really who's making the wine generally, right?
Yeah.
This wine has been so well received by everybody that's walked in there, no matter gender, race, creed, whatever.
I love it.
And so like people like find it as like refreshing, but in a very kind of like oddly elevated way.
No, I love it. Actually, to be honest, I need a couple of cases.
Yeah.
I have some friends in the other industry. Because you meet people from all walks of life, and that they should. They that's their specialty, and they should have and they're chill, and they should actually own a couple of cases of that. I'm gonna help you out there, bro. You don't need any help. I'll have a few places to send it to.
I'll just send you some.
Art, add 2 to cart for the cases right there. We already made a sale. That's how you close it.
I got you. See, there you go. He's the closer.
I'm the closer.
The presumptive sale. That's the thing. Going back to the sales. You know the presumptive. I can't stand the presumptive
24.
sale. It's like I know this is gonna do great for you, and you're probably gonna go through 2 of these in a week. but I'll just start you off with one case, okay?
Yeah.
We got that, and you're like, I fucking hate being
right,
sold.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's not. I can't do it like that.
See, I hate being sold like that, so I don't sell.
Correct.
I can't sell like that.
Correct. No.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, that's some Wolf of Wall Street shit right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I totally get it and where it works in that. But like, all right, yeah, I got it's probably 3 or 4 cases. I got I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like it all stems from like college. You know, me and my cousin, we ran with a whole bunch of people in that industry, and we're friends with them, and like we still are to this day. And so a lot of them will get a kick out of that. I didn't know that existed, but we all know what they're getting for Christmas this year.
If you don't know, now you know.
It's a big wine, very small production.
Hold on. Oh, hold on. Here we go.
We're going to get selfie going. I love it. Dude, we need this shit right here.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, your wines are made in Oregon.
Yes.
So just back to kind of the basics of the wine. So your wine's being made in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
You're partly negociant, partly custom crush. Yep. You live in New York most of the time.
Correct.
But you're going back and forth.
Yeah. I was just like, you know what, like, if someone was like, oh, so you don't even live there. I was like, well, Steve Jobs is not soldering the motherboards in China.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, listen, like, and that's what I realized too, is like having, like, understanding resources and time, like what I'm good at, right? Like being in the front, being the visionary, hiring people, knowing my limitations. Like, I'm not going to go to school and learn how to make wine. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to start now.
Yeah.
And so hiring people, understanding, you know, them kind of helping me bring my vision to life, and then asking questions like, okay, how come we don't pick this earlier? How come we don't do this? Or how come, you know, so like that was it. So, you know, I ended up marrying a New Yorker, and then I started a business on the other side of the country. And I have to tell you, like that, I think that worked for me in the sense of like, it wouldn't have worked if I didn't have the right partner. Right? I think for me, I'm gone all the time. You know, I'd be, you know, basically, you know, what is it? Sunday night? No, I think it's like I'm home on Friday. Like Monday I leave. That's travel day. Work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Late Thursday night I can take the red eye home depending where I'm at, or early Friday morning take the first flight out. Back in New York for dinner by 5 o'clock. Dinner on the table 5 o'clock. Saturday take the kids to soccer practice. Sunday take the motherfucking trash out. Sunday get back on the plane.
Yeah.
And I, you know, and then I realized that, you know, my wife had to have certain things for her to be able to do her thing, and that was it. And then I went out there and did my thing. And you know, and I think a lot of people, you know, and then when you say that in the groups of people, then sometimes you get somebody that automatically they're defensive in a way. Well, I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't be on the plane that long. I said, well, no one even asked you, right? But like, but that's one. But like two, you couldn't do it if you wanted. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's one of those things where I think sometimes like it makes people come up with excuses, and I think like, it's just my story. Like I'm not saying that what you're doing is bad for you or whatever. Like it's just my story. This is what
You're not
I did.
grandstanding.
Yeah,
or anything.
not at all. Like it's like almost to the fact it's like I can't even fucking believe it. Right? You know what I mean? Like I know how hard I work, but also, you know, if hard work made you, it got a whole bunch of results in the sense of like made you rich. Then like, you know, then plumbers and you know what I mean? And construction workers and firefighters would be rich, right? Like, I get it. Like, but like my thing is like, I wanted to work hard, and that's kind of how I did it. So I would spend 1 week a month in Oregon at the winery, and then I would spend the other 3 weeks anywhere in the world that people would listen to my story.
Yeah.
Then I'd come out for harvest for about 4 or 5 weeks, and then I would move my family there in the summer, and then so we would be there for the summer, and then that kind of quickly ended as our kids discovered camp, but that was it. And like, so I was constantly on the road. But also what I knew where I could be helpful for my company was like my peers were the buyers. And so showing up, talking to those people did me good, was the best for my company. Not like being in the vineyard and learning vineyard management. Mm-hmm. Like I could learn that at one point, but also understanding, letting people understand, knowing that like at any given time, if I'm not feeling this shit, then fuck it, I'm going home. I call Kevin, my assistant. I was like, I'm leaving. Or I call my wife and say, pack up, we're moving to Oregon. Mm-hmm. Right? You know what I mean? It's like at some point, I'm not going to be in the front the whole time. At some point, what we talked about earlier about there's so many different roles, and we talked about the diversity within the industry and what you can do in different jobs and how they overlay. Yeah. Like for me, I was like, I'd take advantage of that. So at some point, I don't think that I will be on the road this long or do that kind of stuff, but I'll
for right now, do what you're strongest at and what is needed
to build the
most.
company. Yeah. And that's
then
great.
if your kids get involved, you got 4 kids, and if 1 or 2 or 4 of them get involved, I mean, you might retire early.
Yeah,
But I got a feeling you're not going to retire.
Yeah, no. Well, my wife knows that. They just know that, like, you're just going to do. Like, I have to tell you, to this day, I don't think I deserve a vacation. So I don't go on vacations, and if I do, I'm working, and my wife thinks I'm mad, and like they'll go off and do their shit. and normally what I say is like, I said the V word's a bad word in our house, and everybody's like, what? It's like vacation, right? You know what I mean? And so, or like we'll be somewhere, we're not even on vacation, but like somebody asks something, and it's like, what? You think we're on vacation? Like it's like I'm never gonna stop working, and reflection's hard for me. Right, because I think that's where you can see that it all went
you're a
wrong.
dude.
Yeah, huh? Yeah, because I'm a dude. Yeah, because I'm a dude. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I don't want to look back, not because it fucks my neck up, but like just like
there's too much. There's too much to look forward to look back all the time. I think that's
totally.
it.
No, totally.
You want to be sad all the time? Keep looking back.
Correct.
What? I'm serious.
Well, there's also good times to look back on.
There are good times.
Hey, you ready? We lived in the moment, and I'm ready to move on.
But you also know that you're gonna be looking at like, man, I could have done that different. I should have done that different. Whatever.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get yourself like pulled down, right?
Well, to me, that's
instead of being like, fuck that. I learned from it. I forgot about it. The actual emotional part of it. And I'm going forward.
And I think it's just a big thing about overthinking, right? I mean, that's starting to come up too, like the overthinkers, and it kind of goes into the whole thing of not being the action.
That you get in their own way, yeah.
Into, right?
Well, that happens
to
you because of your oddly high estrogen for a male. But
I'm sensitive, okay? I'm a fucking Pisces, and my mom said I'm special. Snowflake is the word she used.
Yes.
Oh yeah, gotta have a good time.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I don't like to reflect.
I'm not here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time.
Yeah, and I like what you said. I read something else too that it was like so great in an article, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean you said you got to be different to make a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought that really resonated with me too as well.
You do, and I have to say that when they're like, hey, like you guys reached out, we're talking about coming on the podcast, and I was like, yeah, I didn't even know we had a podcast, but like more part was like, oh no, I have respect for that dude, like because I know how hard it must be to grow up in a family business, and then be and to be a disruptor, right? You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like I feel like it's easier for me to do shit because there is no legacy that I would be fucking up. There's nobody rolling over in a grave, so to speak, right? And it's a certain expectation for you. Because you come from a wine family. But this is great, because like from his reaction, you could tell he's like, I never gave a fuck about it. Right? Did you have that or not?
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm asking the questions.
I can do a lot. Yeah. I can be a lot wilder if I wanted to.
Got it.
But yeah, there's a level. I know a lot of people in our company don't see that I have a level, but yeah. There's a level that I do not go past.
But a lot of people in your position, I think sometimes they just go, that's what's holding them back. I mean, they'll go with the flow, but like, it didn't feel like they do those things. They would do something very reserved or whatever.
Yeah, it's in line with the generations prior, and I also think that in this industry in particular, there is a tendency to, if you have multiple generations, there's a tendency for the person that's in charge to continue to be involved until near death, right?
Death, okay, yeah.
Which is great, and but that also can limit. Like, I don't think this has happened in my family, but I've seen it happen in other companies in the wine business where it seems to limit the prime years of creativity of the next generation.
Oh, shit. I haven't thought about that. You're right.
Okay, and so that's something that I'm not going to mention any names, but I've seen plenty where it's like, dude, you could see that guy's hard charging. He wants to get there. He wants to do it, but like, the dad is still there.
Correct.
And so he's like, okay, I'm just going to keep going. By the time you're like in your 40s,
so you're
man.
like, fuck it.
You're like, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to keep on skating along with what I've been doing. And you've lost that lust, that zest, that just that's like that raw passion to drive hard.
That's wild. Yeah.
And so I see that. I mean, I don't think my family necessarily had that issue, fortunately. But yeah, I've got limits.
That's cool, though.
I got some kind of limiter above me that's telling me, like, don't post that.
Yeah. And I feel,
where's that limiter, by the way? Where are they?
But when you're the founder, like, there's nobody really to tell you that's the bad, no, right? Like you can say what you want to say, but like you have to be you have to be self-governing in yourself. Like I think too, it's like no, I'm gonna put the phone down for a second. I don't know if I want to post that.
Yeah.
So XL we used to have, and basically we had this. We created these graphics, whereas basically because I used to have the same in the restaurant. Like nothing says I love you like a Magnum, and obviously everybody takes it the other way, right? And so what we did was we did like a graphic where basically it was a Magnum, so it was a condom package gold, had XL on it, and then you could see the ring, and then it would rip it, and then it would roll out. The bottom would roll, and that'd be the bottom of the bottle, and then it would stand up and say XL on it. And so we kept those in the archives. We used to be pretty wild with it.
Yeah.
We learned our lesson. We learned our lesson.
Your wife was always down with it. She was cool.
My wife just like she didn't even know. She
didn't even know.
This is my thing. I would think that my wife. I think my wife thought it was all stupid, like social media, like all of that, like just like whatever. It's like I don't think she paid attention, and I think maybe she did say something, and I was like whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'd post it, or not post it, or at least like get it, like design it, do it, and then sit with it and be like, okay, maybe that won't come out. And it's and everything's different pre 2016. Right, you know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah,
what we say in the Obama years.
Yeah. Oh man.
I think also too, like when it comes to social media, and then it comes to a point of like posting something, and you're like, actually, if we post this, it's going to create some rage bait. You know what I mean? Like people are going to get upset about it and get the comments going, and then sometimes I feel like you're able to find education and good discussion with wild people, because a lot of people, I mean, it's crazy how many people will just like throw comments out there without a simple Google search or whatever, right? Like that, like people that get like insanely crazy about the wax, and they just think, that's just like a money play, and they're just.
But nobody, you ready? But nobody, like if nobody takes the time. It's all in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then also what I realized is that if you just pose it as a question, then you get all the feedback, right? You know what I mean? And you're not the bad guy, right? Or like, or they were like, you guys would be assholes if you really thought about it. You know what I mean? But like, I would say, hey, it's like, is this cool? Is this a cool ad for XL, right? You know what I mean? Like we're on the fence about it, and then then everybody's like, you guys suck or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean, the social media has been interesting because it is like. It's like we all knew that everybody had opinions, and like now everybody says it, and on social, a lot of people respond like it's their job. My thing is like, if you paid attention to your job, you know what I mean. And so maybe some people take it as a job. I get it, and I don't give a shit about any of it. Like it's like anybody can say whatever you want to say. I know it's not true. Like someone said, if someone like there's a Reddit thread. It's like, is it André Mack, the Somm from Bon Appetit? Are your wines any good? And then somebody wrote, well, I just heard they're just popular now because of social media. Yeah, and I was like, no, not even like we haven't even got a hold of that part yet, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it doesn't work like that at all.
No, totally.
Yeah, that's.
It's always interesting.
People love talking shit, and I've got an alias or like whatever.
Oh, you get on there? Oh, you got a burner account?
Yeah, I got a burner account.
I haven't gone that far, but yeah, that could be it. Maybe I should pay my brother to have a burner account.
Just for fun, just so I can like go in and like, if somebody's being like a little salty, I'll get in there and talk some shit, and just for fun, it's pretty good. And sometimes it's like you go to their page, and then you just
you start to pick apart their shit.
Yeah, because part of it's cathartic, right?
Yeah.
Like. You take a little bit of it personally.
You have to.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten much better at that, because it used to be like, damn, should we like get off of social media? Like this sucks. But that back and forth, anger, rage, whatever, really does drive traffic, and that drives education. And so you see the benefit through the slight bit of negative, but then you can be cathartic about it and like go out there and like criticize couple things on their page.
It's like always like, and I see it all the time. Like I just read it, and then someone will say something. They're like, because you probably shouldn't be talking, buddy. I seen your wife or something like that. And you're like, oh shit, like that was a low blow. Why was he was just saying something about like. He didn't deserve that, but he did deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, so it's just weird. You're just like, wow, people take shots. I just like I just don't have time. I just like
I know.
Like I post that, move on. I used to post a lot a day. Like at the beginning, it was like 4 times a day, and then like I just don't anymore. And then like you get to the point one day, you're just like, and it's not, and my thing is not all wine driven, and like that was I wanted to make the distinction. Like I might be cool because what my job is and what I do, but like this is This is just my life. I treated it like it was just showing like my day in and day out of my life, and that got people to follow. And I think a lot of people like in the wine industry was like, it was kind of like where's Waldo? Like, where in the world is he?
Yeah.
You know, so I was all over the world, and I documented it using this thing. And so now, because you're like, you know, I have some wine show on YouTube, everybody thinks that I'm just spewing wine content over there, and I'm really not.
Yeah, you're so what is the premise of your show? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Got it. So I you know, the TV thing is interesting, right? Like, in the film and being on camera is been always something that's been intriguing to me, and I never, you know, like, everybody wanted to do it. So people were like, hey, everybody wanted me to film it. So, and before, you know, I had like a Cadillac commercial. I had a Microsoft commercial, Johnny Walker Black commercial, and there's just like people in the world just approach me. I think on Twitter somebody wrote, Microsoft was like, hey, we really dig your work, we admire your work, and I was like, this is a fake account? Like, what is this? And, you know, so like, it's all kind of come my way, and yeah, like, even production companies say, hey, I want to shoot a sizzle reel. Like, the owner of the production company was really into wine, and so they wanted to talk about that. And like, you know, I didn't put my best foot, you know, I put my best foot forward in that context of like whatever, but it was nothing I really pursued. And then I kind of started to think, it's like, oh wow, like, if I, you know, maybe if I pursued it in the other way that I did otherwise, like, you know, maybe there's something there. But only, like, I'm honest, like, I only got on TV to sell shit. Right? I only want to sell wine. Right? You know what I mean? Like, that's it. I want to move boxes, right? Like, so Bon Appetit comes to me and they say, hey, we would love to do a show with you, or, you know, do 2 pilot deal or something like that. And I was like, oh, you know, okay, maybe. All right. And then they were pitching me ideas of like for the show, and it was like, well, this blind taste. Actually, you know what we should do is we'll walk down the street, we'll meet somebody randomly walking down the street, we'll pour them some wine, they'll taste it and they'll describe it for you, and from that you kind of, they'll let you be the taster for your blind tasting. And I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. but also my whole thing is like, I think blind tasting, like all right, that's cool, but to me, that's it's traffic and eyeballs because you're making it a competition. But like, to me, that's a tool within the industry, and I don't fuck with it, because I don't want it to be for the next generation. I don't want it to be for them to be like it's some parlor trick. I don't want to go on Jimmy Fallon, next thing you know, like, I'm gonna drink wine blind. All right, and also the internet doesn't understand it. All of a sudden, if you don't know what if you get it wrong, then all of a sudden you don't know what you're talking about, and that's not what it is.
Yeah.
And so they talked to me. They said something like, "Hey, would you review wines under $15?" And then somebody in the background says, "Do you even drink wine under $15?" And I said, "I do. I taste for our store." And I was like, "Cool." And I was like, "I'm not real sure." And then I said, "Hey, can I use emojis to describe the wines?" And they were like, "Fuck yeah!" I said, "I'm in." I signed up, and that was it. And, you know, I think we've done 30 episodes. So I have the show called The Wine World with André Mack, and basically we just do, you know, just like tasting wine, some kind of wine education, whatever. Then I had a second show called Through the Grapevine, and it was kind of more like the hot ones of the wine wine industry. So you have a celebrity that's come in, you taste 5 different wines, 5 different tiers. You have interesting interview questions, and then you ask them how much they would pay for this wine. And which was interesting, because I remember like Dwayne Wade was on. He's like, I don't know what the fuck the gallon of milk costs, right? You know, like, how would I know what this wine costs? And then you had someone like Ava Longoria on there that was like, my house wine is like $800 a bottle, right? You know what I mean?
Geez, yeah.
So, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and I felt like it cut away from like me just talking to the camera.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like there's some Hollywood magic to it, in the way of like, you know, you're in a room much darker than this room. Like, there's only 3 people on the other side of you. Nobody laughs at your fucking jokes, right? You know what I mean? So like, you're trying to find energy from somewhere. Then I don't watch them. Like, my team watches them, and then when they come out, I promote it, and then I don't watch them. And then, like, you know, maybe 3-4 weeks later, you know, my son's like, you know that video got a couple million views, and you're like, who the fuck is watching this?
Yeah.
Like, who in the world is watching this? And then you're just like walking down the street, crossing the crosswalk, somebody's beeping the horn. You're like, yo, love you, man. I was like, love you too. And then you start to realize that, like, oh,
you're making an impact.
People watch it. And then I was like, who's going to watch this shit? And, you know, I thought it would be like novice. And then, you know, I went to a newly opened restaurant in a bistro in Chicago for dinner one night, and 13 staff members lined up to take selfies and to tell me thank you.
Wow.
Because they're like, hey, 2 weeks ago we had a wine test, and if we didn't pass that wine test, we couldn't work here. and we all cram watching your videos. And I was like, that's what's up. That's cool. Like, and that thing of like making a difference. Like, yeah, I'm here to sell some shit, but if I can make a difference and bring other people to wine, like, that's great. And like, you just never know. It's like, you know, some old Asian woman comes by, and like she's like standing. I'm like LAX, and she's like standing over me, and she says, "Cool shoes." She goes, "Yeah, I have some in a different color." I was like, "Okay, yeah, cool, yeah, cool." And then she's awkward, and then she's like. And then she like turns her phone and she goes like this and she's showing it, and it's like her watching me on YouTube, and she's like, "Well, this is the real reason I'm over here." And then you just start cracking up, and then she says, she goes, "My husband's a big fan," and I was like, "Where's your husband at?" He's over there. I was like, "Hey, what's up? Come over." And I get all that shit. I get those requests where it's like somebody's birthday. Normally it's the wife's birthday, and it's the reason for the husband to spend money. So yeah, I get paid to show up at people's houses for a party.
No way.
Yeah, and they don't want me to do anything. Oh yeah, brother, it's wild.
That is wild.
Yeah, and then all of it is like, I ain't into no cuckold shit. So like, better not be no upside down pineapples or some shit like that.
You just took my next question.
I was just about to say, we can start pimping Joe out.
Yeah, well now, and I'm like, hold on a second. You show up and you're like, oh, and you know, I'm playing around. I'm like, that's not the cuckold chair, and you're like, well, the pineapple pillow is over there.
Hey, don't tell marketing about that. I'm not. I don't have time to do that.
You should do it. It's like, it's. I don't know, dude. It is like, it's just an interesting thing. It's like, so what? All the time. Like I remember one guy wrote, he's like, hey,
they pay you to show up.
Yeah, like 20K.
Wow.
25K?
No.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you give them any wine?
No, nothing. Show up. They didn't want me to show up.
Do you see his eyes lighting up right
Yeah.
now?
Well, no, I'm thinking, dude, you could do a disc. You'd be like, look, I'll do it for $50K, but I'm gonna give you $25K in wine.
Yeah. So you can do it that way.
I'm thinking I could pimp you out.
And we do like virtual tastings, like 10 grand an hour. You know, virtual tasting, 10 grand an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but like, and I only say that, and I only throw numbers out for people who are listening that like there is like you can.
There are
you
other
can,
ways to monetize.
Yeah, you can do really cool shit. And the fact was like, who am I? I'm thinking to myself, who am I? You want me to show up at your party? This is wild.
Well, that's because you're grounded. Like you know you're a real person. Like we're all just people.
Okay.
And like I mean I'll look at celebrities and shit like that and be like, yeah, those guys deserve. Like I can understand
that's real shit. Yeah.
You know, if somebody came to me, exactly, someone came to be offering me money, I'd be like, for what? Like what the?
I'm on the plane. I get
do
off
I
the plane.
do I
like
have to be naked? See, my question would be the same.
Yeah, totally.
Is this
like,
a cuckold situation?
I'm not sleeping with anybody's wife, and it's always that. It's always the husband who reaches out, and it's the wife's birthday, and I'm like, so, is she a fan? Or you a fan? Like, what? Like, you want me to come? Like, and it's so funny. And someone's like, hey, I want you to come to Japan, like all this shit, and it's just like, okay, and so. I don't know, like you're like, hey,
that's cool.
That's like, hey, I've never been to Japan, like maybe I'll go, but it's always that, or like you're like, I can't go, or then they find out like the price, and then it's like, okay, all right, for 10 grand, I'll shoot a video, wish your wife happy birthday or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just so we don't give any wine or anything like that, but like, I don't know. It's been wild. It's been fun, and the show is. I feel like so many people in the world know me more. That like they know me, and they may not know that I make wine. Or sell wine to offer, and so I think there's still some work for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say like connecting all of those together, like that sounds like a work in progress. And I mean, I don't know if you could ever get to 100% of both parties knowing, right?
Correct.
Because
but at least 30.
You got Andre the entertainer, then you got Andre the wine, the winemaker, right? Yeah.
It's a interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. It's like it's weird. Like it's like, hey, you work really hard, you have financial freedom, right? So you like. That in itself is okay. That's great. That's all you really want. That's all I really wanted. And then it's this other piece where, what? Like it takes a special person to come up to you.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many people in the room that won't come up to you but know you, right? And so it's like weird. It's like I'll be like, I'll be on the plane and the internet comes up. I'm on the internet and they're kind of like so it's like I get like this DM message from this woman and it's like, is that you in 8B? And you're like,
sitting there scrolling through Instagram. You're like, what the?
Because that looks like you in 8B. Yeah. But I get that all the time where someone's like, hey, did you just walk by in Verona? It's like, no, dude, I'm in fucking Syracuse in an auditorium with like 30,000 kids. No, I wish I was there, right? And so you get all that time, and then she's like, oh my God, like we thought that was you, me and my husband, your biggest fan. Or like you're just being played. It's just interesting. You've been in place, huh?
Do you have any like impersonators yet? Like
no.
Like,
well, no. So we have people dress up. People dress up like me for Halloween. Yeah. There was just
Really?
like, yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
oh,
There's
yeah.
like maybe there was like 6 last year that like posted to the internet.
Dude, you got to convince like Spirit Halloween stores
Yeah,
to,
Yeah.
to make the costume of you.
We'll see. My thing is like we would make our own. I think we could make
Yeah.
our own. Like,
Yeah.
and I think this might be interesting. Is like, I think like from like through the people that I use. So like what do they do when they dress up? They're wearing a red beanie. They're wearing a blue short coat. I think that's it. And then maybe some glasses. Right. And so
Yeah.
I think that we could. I think that I have relationships through those people I wear those things with. That I think through them that we could put together a package together, make a raffle, and you can dress up me for Halloween.
Yeah,
Right, to start. And then
You
if
should
we
try
get that,
it.
yeah, we should
Yeah.
definitely do it, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
we just been like, and that's like, to me, it's like just having fun with it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why somebody would want to fucking buy a hat that I wear. Right, but you ready? But it is, right? Or like
Yeah.
shoes, or like a fucking wine key, or like whatever. And so, I don't know, I think I take it all in stride. I don't take myself too serious, and I still want to have fun in the things that I'm doing. Wine is still number one for me, and that like, it's still fun to tell the story, but also to introduce other people into wine that like no, this thing is amazing.
they can learn through your journey
Correct.
how special it is.
Yeah.
And I try to tout it as well. Same
Yeah.
thing. It's like you travel anywhere around wine.
Yeah.
Great culture, great people, great food,
Correct.
beautiful places, and I mean like you almost can't miss, right?
True.
And so that's a big part of it. And then your moments that you're talking about. There really are, like, I have my moments with wine. There's like almost always a wine that's integrated into a story of
Correct,
a
yeah.
memory that I have. Even like going back to 5 years old.
Yeah.
Getting wasted
Wow,
in
shit.
the vineyard. Yeah, that was. I
Yeah.
didn't know what I was doing.
that
but
one
yeah.
either, but like, wow, that's awesome.
That was Cayman Sauvignon. No, Liberty School Sauvignon
Yeah.
Blanc. That was it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But so I do have to ask. So Oregon,
Yeah.
all the places you could have gone like anywhere in the world. You had connections.
Yep.
You were some.
Yep.
You could have gone anywhere in the world. Why'd you choose Oregon?
Because Oregon, like, they felt like my people. They felt it was lower. Like, I think first and foremost, when you work in a restaurant like the French Laundry and Per Se, those are storied wine lists, right? They've been around forever, and they have the things that they're known for. And I think as a young buyer, sommelier coming into those programs, you try to feel like you want to champion a section. Like you know all those other things, but like what mark am I going to leave on this list? And I would have to say that it was the Oregon wineries and the Pinot Noir that I really felt that spoke to me and that I championed. And I felt like in my mind that was the most exciting and on the edge place of making Pinot Noir domestically, and that's kind of where it took
Yeah.
me. And so when I left here, like when I left, our first projects were from Napa. So we did 2 projects here, and that was cool. But then when I was looking to find, when I was doing Pinot Noir, then we were in Oregon, and then like how the stars align. I don't know. It was lower cost of entry.
Yeah.
There was less.
Regulation.
Yeah, less regulation. Like, yeah. But yeah, and then we whatchamacallit, that was it.
Logic.
Yeah, no, it totally is. And I didn't want to do, and that, like, it was it. And they welcomed me, and it was great. And like I said, it wasn't oversaturated, meaning like there was people. And then also what I didn't realize in hindsight was there wasn't the second generation right on the cusp. So in California, what I saw was you saw the second generation coming out. So you saw like you can honestly say that probably more people know who Jasmine Hirst is than David Hirst is.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
yeah.
and like through social and
Yeah.
but like and not that like that I think that's a great thing in evolution of it. But like you had like the Christina Turleys, like you
Yeah.
had all of the second generation of California wineries coming to be a part of the business, going out, like being the face of it, going out, which was kind of the circle that I traveled in. But you really had nobody from Oregon yet. Like now their second generation is starting to start, and I think for me it was like lower cost of entry, and then the people spoke to me. My mother-in-law, my wife's aunt was head of public artworks in Oregon, and so I had like a place to go, and then I knew those people, and so like they felt like my people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Napa. It hadn't been around yet. It didn't have money like it did. It had some money. You've been there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like
that's one of the things I love about it is
Yeah.
that it's real. It's
back in the
it's
day,
not
it used to
inflated.
be old hippies wearing mom jeans with sandals and socks.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's evolved a little bit, and like I think it's cool. And like for me, I got a chance to grow with that, and be a part of something that was bigger than me. Like they don't know that how honored I am to be like to call that my home and to be there. Like and so much so that I didn't want to be one of those people that didn't live there. Right? You know what I mean? Like and then you make a whole bunch of wine. Like I don't want to be there, and then you're not a part of it. It's like so like I made a huge effort to be there. And so that's kind of been the thing. It's like, and so it just spoke to me. Pinot Noir was it. That was it. And then I made a style of Pinot Noir that eventually America's palates would catch up to, right? You know, American like sour started to come later.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you think of the kombucha, the rise of kombucha, and how that's kind of played out into sour beer, and then sour beer kind of leads to natural wine, right? And so you kind of get that way, and then you kind of come up, and then you kind of get, you know, a lot of like, you know, so old world Burgundy styles before climate change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, see, I did Oregon the wrong way, kind of. I was real tight in with the growers up there.
Yeah.
But I wasn't making the wine up there, and that got some people pissed off, including the OLCC.
I heard about it. I heard.
Yeah.
Oh, you heard?
I heard. What do you think? It's big news.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Big news.
all the guys at the OLCC got busted.
Yeah,
for
I
that
was wondering. I was
thing.
like, do I need to wear a flak jacket over here?
No.
If we're in Oregon, maybe.
I got a love hate with sommeliers, but it's only certain somm types, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same with Oregon. Like there are very few in the grand scheme of things. There are very few people in both of those communities that I don't get along with viciously. But
I get that.
But the majority of them, like we all have good intentions. We are all going the same
and I think
direction.
that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, like, you know, the preciousness of this industry is wrapped up. Like, for some people are wrapped up in that, and it's like, oh, you don't have respect for this or that. And it's like, well, no, I do. But, like, there's a lot of room for all of this existence in this thing.
So, you know, one thing that I learned more recently, that I would have thought I would have learned this a long time ago, but so, you know, I always thought there was kind of like this pact of Pac Northwest, right? Washington and Oregon that would band together and kind of co-promote their states and the wines coming from their states, and then California was the powerhouse, and it's like, you know, okay, that does its own thing. It's not wanting to fuck with Oregon and Washington, but because it doesn't need to. It's already, you know, the majority of wine sales in the U.S. But then I'm talking to people up in Washington, and they're like, oh no, we don't get along with Oregon. And I was like, what? They're like, no, we get along with you guys. Like, Oregon doesn't like us either. And I was like, I mean, you're outside of it enough to probably see that. But I can never tell, like, where is this stemming from? What is the core of this pro Oregon and bash everything else?
Okay.
Is that like the OWA or?
No, I think this is what I said to say. I think it comes from a genuine place, but sometimes like so much so that there's all this other shit that comes with it. So
instead of being positive only about Oregon, they're positive about Oregon and negative about everything else.
Well, I mean, that's not your wine, right? So
there you go.
But you see what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
I've been waiting for this conversation.
But like so much in it that like they're so proud, and like I get that, and like so proud of it that like some people can't only come off as everything else is negative, or there are things like, why would you buy that shit? But like I think like within everything else, like when I talk about natural wine, like natural wine is like it's like if you say natural wine is a category, then you say traditional wine is a category. Within traditional wine, there's people who make fucked up shit, and there's people who make miraculous shit. And the natural wine community, the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but what happens is that, you know, I feel, you know, I'm kind of proud of the natural wine movement. I feel like they've grown up a little bit, and they're starting to call bullshit within their own category.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, and they're starting to say, not all of it's the same. There's different producers and different things. But at the beginning, you know, they used what made them different as a way to be pretentious. Another way to separate themselves from other people. And if you weren't part of that thing, then you were bullshit. And I think in Oregon, maybe there's a little bit of that. Like, I think like if, you know, they believed in what they had wholeheartedly, and it's been miraculous what they've been able to do for 50 years, I think. But I think underneath that, like, you have some you have radicals.
Yeah.
Right? Who like, no, it's this or nothing kind of thing. And I don't know. I tried, like, to be honest with you, I try to just like, I'm just too busy doing other shit. I just let people do their thing. If they're not fucking with me, I don't fuck with them, kind of thing. And they're fucking with you, but
no, but I think that is the majority of everybody up in Oregon. Yeah. But there's some core that's like this almost like secret society up there that I could not figure out. I mean, I think I know some of the people obviously that are part of that, but you know, it almost has like some of the, like if you see how kind of socialism will take over a country, right? They kind of operate the same way. It's like these very few people that kind of like, okay, now we're going to focus on this. And then they fuck with this and.
Well, and I think that, and I think they're overprotective. They're protective of
very
this
protective
thing that they build, and so like that.
Which I am all for.
And I was careful because you know I was just the OPP man, right? So nobody knew who I was, and then finally, you know, they would go when they would send somebody into different markets around the country. They were like, every place I went, they had this fucking OPP there, right? And then finally, I'm not hard to miss, right? Right? So then, I became the OPP man. But I was very careful of like coming into someone else's community, trying to figure that out, and like, understanding like not to overstep. And I'm not saying that you didn't, but like what I'm doing is recognizing like exactly what you said. It felt that a lot of people were protective of this thing.
Yeah.
And same way, like I'm like. All right, natural wine. If that's what you're into, great, right? And I think before, I was like, dude, this is kind of the emperor's new clothes. But like, how can I fuck with somebody's yum? Like, if that's what you're into, great. Yeah. Like, but where I punched back was like the dogma that came with it, right? It's like all the other shit. It's like, oh, like we farm this, and you're like, well, you know how many like to grow avocado, like all this shit, like clearing the land, how many animals we kill, like all of this thing that ties back to your end, and I just let it be. And my whole thing is like, I don't know. I just go through life and, my wife always knows what I say. You said, you know what I say? And she said, I know. I said, what I say? She goes, fuck them. And that's it.
But it's also just...
fuck them right where they stand.
Like, can you imagine if everybody was just kind of like, I'm going to do what I do with my life, and you do what you do with yours. And let's all just... carry along having like respect for one another.
Correct.
But I think that's the.
And I get that, but sometimes it goes too far when like there's something obvious. The next thing you know, like that goes, I'm just minding my business, and then your neighbor he done kidnapped 15 girls and he got them in the basement for the last 30 years, right? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes
that's what he was into.
And the neighbors never knew. The neighbors always were like, he was a good guy, and very quiet.
His barbecues were awesome.
In the middle of the night, there's two girls holding hands and shit, like banging on your window, and you're like, what the fuck? They escaped on Halloween. You're like, is this a so like. So I do think there's a healthy bit of like that kind of thing, but and that's it. Like like I said, like whatever brought people to wine, I was into. What I was not into was like the pretense, and I feel like at the beginning, natural wine, that was what it was about. Like it was like all this other shit that it wasn't, and the fact is like you could have it. It wasn't about money to get access. It was about how it was farmed to raise to get access. And then I think there was a lot of the whole romanticize about like I think we're having this conversation like, can you believe that they don't even take the wine to the lab? And it's like, well, they couldn't afford to take the wine to the lab, but somehow that's great. Well, you know what I mean? It's like or they say this is how wine tasted in the 1800s. I was like, great. You want me to show you how they amputated a leg in the 1800s? There's been advancements in science and those things, and I think like we start to realize that, and I think and what I say to everybody, there's space for everybody. And like, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. I would never use that like because like I'm drinking Raveneau 3 nights a week or whatever, that I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Right. And just because like there's no sulfur added to this wine that I'm better than you, or there's other wines in it. And I said, I think it's for all of it. And like, if that's bringing young people to wine, I think that's great. And $2 Chuck brought people to wine.
Yeah.
All right. We wouldn't say that all that was the great, but like what I was for, it was like I'm in the Mission District. It's like a taqueria after hours. There's a kid that works at some Michelin restaurant. You go there. It's a 5-course tasting menu for $25. Bring your own wine, right? I'm with all my wine friends. We pop the trunk. We got all the samples from the day. And then you see a couple in the corner, and they got $2 Chuck on their table.
Yeah.
And I walk over to them. I was like, hey, guys, what are you guys doing? And it's like, I said, you guys are doing it right. And I'm like talking to them. I said, hey, I'm with all my fancy wine friends, and like we can't drink all this wine. Like, I'd love to like give you some. And they're like, yeah, cool. Right? You know what I mean? And so like for me, it's like, I think that's great. And like, you ready? And I didn't give wine to anybody else in that place. Yeah. who were drinking wine. Like, it's just like, hey, like, you guys are doing it right. This brings you to wine. And I think there's a way to do it. And there's many ways to do it. And I was just like, I feel the same way. And it's like, you get it, we say, get it how you live, and if that's how you can do it, that's how you're doing it, great. And natural wine, that's how you do it. But like, you don't have to be a dickhead to anybody about it. And like, that wine's not great. And or that shit. It's like you get a bottle of wine, it's still going through fermentation.
Yeah.
You ready? I don't have to say shit. I just put the glass down.
Yeah.
Right? Or, I drink it or whatever. Like, like, I think for me, like, I'm not really rude about any of that kind of stuff, right?
I still don't send wine back if it's corked.
Yeah.
I just get another bottle.
Yeah. So
that's one where I know I should, but for me, I'm like, God, it's happened. I know it happens to my wine.
Yeah.
Not anymore because we're paying a fucking fortune for our corks. But it's like that's one of those things where it's like, it's because eventually the buck's gonna stop somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's most likely gonna be the restaurant.
Well, I think the other problem is that I'm at a table. I'm probably at a table with other people, or if somehow the sommelier tastes it, then all of a sudden it's like André didn't fucking know.
Oh, I'll let everybody know.
Huh?
I'll let everybody know.
Okay, but we're not sending it back. Okay, got it.
I won't let the som or the server know, though.
You won't let them know.
Unless the som tastes it.
Got it.
But usually...
But you won't send it back. It's weird when they come to the table and everyone's like, yeah, it's great.
You just get another bottle.
Yeah. No. Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
You ready? Okay. I and it's so funny. I try not to make myself do that, but I know what you're saying. Well, it's like, I'll just order another one.
It's just that if you go all the way back through the chain, right? It should be the cork supplier that should be reimbursing the everybody along the chain. So that'd be the customer not paying for it, the restaurant returning it to the distributor paying the restaurant, the supplier paying the distributor, the cork paying. Like, it's way too many fucking people in the chain.
I get that. I see that.
I don't want to put that on the restaurant because restaurants are already
razor
thin margins.
Most of the time, the distributor will give it back to them up to a certain price point. They're not supposed to.
Yeah.
But we normally used to have a cork list.
It would be kind of crazy if somebody tried to send back a corked wine, and you're like, sorry, this is the address to the cork supplier. You're gonna have to send this into them. That's not really our.
Or they come back. That would be really funny.
Not our problem.
We have this form.
You're gonna have to pay for this still, but you can take the bottle.
This is the bag, and you'll get reimbursed. Like, here it is. Here it is. We can send it to them.
Fuck, I'd be dropping trichloroanisole into every expensive bottle of wine after I drank 3/4 of it.
Oh shit, dude.
It's like, ready? And that's the funny. That definitely is a comedy. That's some wild shit if you're just dropping it in it. Yeah. Like, so you order you just like turn your back, dropping it after you drank most of it.
Oh my God.
You're like, wow, this is kind of corked.
All right, well, we are going to start winding it down now, but I got some rapid fire questions.
All right.
So I like doing these. You have a half a second to respond.
All right, okay.
Half a second.
Okay.
Hit me with the chopper. Where
First wine that blew your mind.
Vos Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay. Favorite go-to wine pairing?
Oh, fuck. Krug and filet of fish.
Good choice. Fried?
Huh?
Fried?
Yeah,
fish?
so it's fried filet of fish, so filet of fish sandwich, and then we throw caviar in a boot and half bottle of Krug.
Man, have you been to Charlie's up here?
No.
So it's a newer restaurant where Cindy's Backstreet Kitchen used to be.
Okay, yeah, all right. I remember,
okay, so best fucking barbecued oysters I've ever had in my life. Number one. That might be just like a good little snack in the afternoon.
Yep.
But they kind of got this they got a chicken sandwich, which is awesome. But they got phenomenal chicken, fried chicken there.
Oh,
and you can get it with the caviar.
Get a caviar, yeah. No, that's it.
God, my mouth is watering now. God damn it,
dude! Rapid fire, bro.
Fuck, Chris. I get caught up.
We've been here for a long time, but let's get.
I get caught up in the food romance.
I love it.
Okay. What's the most overused phrase in the wine world, currently or forever?
Minerality. Ooh. I say it all the time.
I feel personally offended.
I should not. I say it all the time. I'm just thinking about me. I'm shaming myself.
I think you're right, though. I think you're right. If you could make a wine collaboration with any celebrity, who would it be and why?
Lenny Kravitz.
Ooh, good one.
I don't know. I love the music. He's suave. I mean, anybody who can work out in leather pants. You gotta make wine with him.
You know he'd just pour that wine all over his half-naked body on a music video.
And it's over.
Yeah,
Sold out.
You're sold out. 10 years
Yeah, we
in a
didn't
row.
hit platinum already. You know?
I want to get away.
Best song to play at a wine dinner.
Best song to play at a wine dinner, Nuck If You Buck. Go look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that one up.
It's not so old Negro spiritual.
Okay, what's one piece of advice you'd give to young black entrepreneurs breaking into the wine business?
Be able to work for free.
Okay.
Yeah, work and learn. I think in most aspects of it, like I would have paid people to work for them. I would have paid to work at the French Laundry.
Okay.
Yep.
I hope Thomas Keller's not hearing that. Okay, the ultimate showdown: stemmed or stemless, and why are you right?
It's stem glasses, right? Stemware. It's called stemware for a reason. You hold it by the stem. Just based off of tradition, it is what it is, and that's it. I think that's why most people get into wine, because you serve it out of a different glass.
Yeah, I didn't write that question. That's a stupid question.
Hey, I'm giving your audience what they
Was that
want,
you
dude.
or Art? Did you write that question?
Did I, Art?
These are your TikTok followers, bro. You can talk to them.
Okay, one wine in your lineup that you'd want a total beginner to start with.
We make a wine called Bottoms Up. It is our Riesling blend. So I think when most people get into wine, like the idea that it's made from fruit, that it should be sweet. It has some residual sugar in it, but it finishes pretty dry just because of the acid. So this is the sweetest wine that I make, and I think that's a great place for people to start. And then plus, it's called Bottoms Up, and you can only read the label once the bottle is empty and it's upside down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Are you a boob guy or a butt guy?
Boob? Hold on. A what guy?
A boob guy or a butt guy, dude?
Oh yeah. This is the part where
Hold on.
Yeah,
I'm a butt guy. I have nothing. I don't know what to do with the boobs. So I'm done. I don't know what. And if they're too big, that's overwhelming.
I mean, you got two butt guys on the couch right now, looking at you like.
What about
what's this question?
What about me? I'm definitely a butt guy.
I don't know.
Hey,
It's
can I just get?
it's gotta be the onion. Gotta be the onion.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Cipollini, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People, so that
don't
people
know.
don't know. They're like, butt. It's like, no, you got a big butt. No, that's a wide butt, son.
Yeah.
Like, they need the round butt. It got to be the onion, you know?
Yeah.
What I'm saying?
And have you noticed the real perverts out there are boob guys?
Are they?
Yeah, that's where the perverts are.
Art?
I don't know.
Hey, man, I'm an ass guy. Why don't
Just,
Okay, what's a random non-wine skill or obsession you have that people don't know about?
Making tortillas.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I make tortillas, and I learned the recipe off of Robert Rodriguez's 5-minute cooking school videos on YouTube. And what he says is, knowing how to cook is like knowing how to fuck. So you got to have some things that you can do well. Robert Rodriguez, the movie director, has a cooking school on YouTube, and that's how I learned how to make tortillas, and that's the recipe I use.
That's some good advice. Now, I got a quick follow-up. Flour or corn?
Oh, it's only flour for me, bro.
Okay, all right.
Corn, yeah.
All right.
I can't do corn.
All right, well, I'm gonna go look up that recipe.
flowers and butts, dude. Like,
If aliens landed and asked you to explain wine with one bottle, what are you handing them?
One bottle. I'm handing them one bottle. I would probably say Montrachet.
Okay.
Producer, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't say DRC, but maybe I don't know. I would just say Montrachet. Like white Burgundy to me is just at its top of the game. Is just like there's nothing like it. And that's so funny. I just we'll be having dinner. I'll pour some wine at the table, and we'll all sit down. And my wife will put her nose in a glass, and she's like, "Oh, this smells like my courtship."
You're trying to impress, huh?
Well, we worked at the same restaurant.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Thomas Keller.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, Andre, it was a pleasure having you on. We need more people like you in the business. We appreciate everything you do.
Yeah.
Thank
What?
you.
It's over? No.
Hey, is there anything you want to say where people just? I mean,
Dude, there's some barbecued oysters calling your name.
Where else
No,
can I
I
get
see
you?
you ready. I'm not good. I told you I don't ask for the sale.
Guys, you want me?
Look me up.
Put his
I'm
promo.
everywhere.
We're
Go
putting
follow.
up here, post.
Well, hold on. I got to do my how all the YouTube here. Smash that like button down there. Hit me up. talk me. I don't know. I'm happy
No,
to be
seriously,
here. It's great.
look up Andre and what he's doing, the education that he provides, the fun that he makes this industry, with having a wealth of knowledge to be able to come at it from a place of non-pretension.
Yep.
That's not normal. And
No, it's not.
and that's something that differentiation is what makes a difference. So
Well, and I
thank
think
you.
I don't have to think that this is not my last time here.
No.
No.
And I don't know. I think that we're gonna cook up some crazy shit, something fun, something interesting. I don't know. I think some fun. I'm down. Like that's like I'm like whatever. Like let's do it. We don't have to write it on the back of a napkin, but like I think we should do something that's fun. I haven't had that in a long time, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like So I've been working on a box wine project. You ever seen Nerds?
Yes,
Yeah,
dude.
Nerds candy. It's 2 flavors in each side. So before in the Obama era, you know, one side was called Butterface and the other side was called Knock on Wood. So stainless steel Chardonnay and buttery oak Chardonnay.
No shit.
Yeah, and so we've been working on the packaging and I get the box done. So it's a spout on both sides.
I like it.
And so I don't know. Let's do something.
That's the kind of stuff.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
do
thank you very
something
much,
fun.
Andre. It's
Awesome.
a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Until
Please,
next
thank you.
time. Peace.
Oh, cool. And I've been looking at the microphone instead of the camera. Peace, guys. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys. They got all these fucking cameras in here. Any other podcast, this is a real podcast. All the other bullshit you've been to, you're on Zoom or you can't see. I don't know. Like, you know, I've been on a lot of camera. I've been on a lot of sets. I'm like, where's the fucking A camera? There's one there. There's one everywhere. The setup is amazing. If you want to be on a real podcast, you gotta come to this one.
Yeah, best close
Thank
ever.
you guys.
Thank you.
guys. Cheers. I have no idea what the fuck's going on here. Peace.